Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum class. People who are sitting over here, students who have joined us online on Zoom call, I welcome you to English grade 11. And now this will be our lecture number 6. Now we are going to discuss another students learning outcome from our competency of reading and critical thinking. Yes, this is about reading to enhance your comprehension skills. So in the middle of the lecture, if I'm not audible, you can tell me by raising your hands. So I hope the sound issue is not going to be any problem. Now, my dear learners, let's read our students learning outcome that we have for today, and let's see that how we can achieve it by the end of our lesson. This is our goal. So let's read our SLO, or students learning outcome. It says link new facts, terms and concepts with prior knowledge, then choose words and phrases for effect. Now we are supposed to do two things in our students learning outcome today. First, we will link the new things that we will be learning, like let's say facts, terms or concepts, and we are going to join them and link them with our prior knowledge. We will talk about all these terms in this video lesson, and then we will talk about that how we can choose appropriate words and phrases that will leave the maximum effect on the reader. So these are the two things that we are concerned about. Now let's move forward. Here you can see a vertical link with the previous grade, the students learning outcome, just to give you an idea that this is not but a continuity of that students learning outcome into this grade. Now, I want you to think about it and storm your brains. We are talking about reading skills, reading and critical thinking, and we are going to learn that how we can link our prior knowledge with anything that we learn new. This is very important as a learner. When you want to study more, when you're learning more and learning new things, it is very important to keep in check that how it is linked and how you can receive it as a learner. So for today's brainstorming session, you have to imagine traveling back in time and explaining a modern invention to someone who's never seen anything like it. How would you connect it to something that they might already understand? So you're traveling back in time. You are a person from this 21st century, and let's say you are moving back to the 18th century or the 19th century. So you meet a person. Now how would you describe a new modern invention, let's say a mobile phone with all these facilities that we have, or modern cameras, or all these different kind of inventions? Take one. How would you explain it to a person who has never seen anything like that before? Think about it. So if you have any kind of suggestion or answer to this brainstorming session, you're most welcome. So students, if you like to answer this question and contribute to the lesson, then you can unmute yourself. People who are listening online, you can unmute yourself, raise your hand, and then answer the question. Okay. Now, imagine this situation. Now you will be telling about this modern invention to a person who, let's say, have a knowledge about telephone. Now how will you explain it? You will explain it since your listener, the person, already has some prior knowledge about inventions and technology. Now you will explain it by linking the new knowledge with his or her prior knowledge. And you will choose words that and phrases that will leave the maximum effect on the listener or the reader of the text. Now, this is how we will tell it. We will utilize that person's prior knowledge, the existing knowledge, and give him or her new facts, concepts, and terms so that we can explain the modern invention to a person who has not seen anything like this. You can come up with your answers. You can reach me out in the group and share your ideas that how would you do this activity. Now, let's talk about linking our facts, our terminologies, terms, and also the concepts with our prior or existing knowledge. Now, this is a very good way of learning anything new. Whether it's any subject or any topic, you just relate everything with your existing knowledge. Now, let's see how it works. Let's talk about a term that is mentioned in our students' learning outcome. It is a fact. Now, a fact is a piece of information that is verifiable and true. It represents something that has actually happened or exists in the real world. Now, those things that are actually, or the pieces of information that can be verified, and it is always true. Now, this is a fact, and you can clearly see it in the real life. It's not imaginary. It's not based on opinions, or it's not baseless. Rather, it's based on research, and it is very much verifiable. So this is a fact, and we are learning facts all the time as a learner. If you're reading something or you're watching something, you're learning. Now, how would you link this fact with your prior knowledge so that you can remember it as much as you can and for the longest time? Now, let's talk about new information. Now, how can we identify the new information? This could be anything from a new fact or any term that you have recently learned in any subject, you can say, or any complex concept. Now, when you're learning new information, unknowingly, what you're doing is you are linking with your previous and existing knowledge in order to relate the whole concept in your mind in totality. Now, let's talk about recalling, remembering your prior knowledge. Now, this could be something you learned in a previous class, in the previous grade, something you read about, or even something you experienced in your everyday life. Now, all those things are already in your knowledge. Now, how do we make connection between these things? Once you have identified the new information that we have learned and recalled your prior knowledge, now we will try to find connection, how these two things are connected, either they are related or not. Between the two, how does the new information fit in with what you already know? Now, the purpose of doing this is to collect everything in your mind in a specific place, and where you can access all these relatable information that is there, so that the concepts and the new knowledge and learning is not mixed up. Now, new information is often easier to understand and remember. How we can remember it? Because we are actually connecting it to existing or prior knowledge. Now, making connections help us to create a mental framework for new information. Linking also help us identify any gaps in our understanding. So if we have any doubt when we are learning something new, any information, any fact, or any concept or term, while understanding it and when you retain it, you might feel that there are some gaps in your understanding. So how do you fill those gaps, those problems that you face? You start linking new information with the previous knowledge, ask more questions, search about it so that all the gaps are filled and you are overall understanding the new information. Now, let's talk about prior knowledge. Now, prior, or you can also call it background knowledge, is the knowledge a human being gathers prior to experiencing or engaging in something. So when you are learning something new or finding something new, your previous knowledge motivates you and engages you in that new particular skill or knowledge or any text that you are reading, so that the things are linked and the interest is intact. A student, for example, may have background knowledge in spelling or math prior to arriving in kindergarten. Now, this is prior or background knowledge. If you have knowledge about alphabets, if a kid does this and then joins the school, now in order to learn new information, all these alphabets or those numbers, now they can easily be absorbed and learned by the child, by the kid, because of that prior knowledge, that background work that has already been done. Now, we talked about linking new facts, concepts, and terms with prior knowledge. We saw how we can do it. Now let's talk about the other chunk of our students' learning outcome, which is about choosing words and phrases for effect. Now, till now, if anybody has any kind of question, they can ask me straight away. Students who are hearing me, listening to me online, you can ask your question about our students' learning outcome, what we have learned so far, so that we can move on to the next chunk of our students' learning outcome. All right. Now, let's see how we can choose words and phrases for effect. Let's talk about first that authors choose certain words and phrases to have different effects on their readers. Now, you know that as a reader, the words, the phrases and sentences, they leave an impact on us readers. And that impact, that effect is very important, and those things happen when the word choice is used correctly to leave the maximum impact or effect. Their word choice can make readers feel different emotions towards the topic they are writing about. Now, we learned about two terminologies over here, effect and word choice. Let's see. Effect is what the reader feels or understands after reading a text. Word choice is the decision a writer makes on what words to use. And those words that are carefully curated and they are carefully used according to the situation to leave maximum impact, they leave a very good effect on the reader. Now, when we are reading something like that, we need to see what kind of language is used in our learning process. Is it a formal language or an informal language? Now, you have to consider the context and your audience. Will you be using formal language for a presentation or report, or informal language for a conversation between a friend? Now, when you're reading something, see the kind of language that is used. Either it's formal, which is for official and formal setting, or it's informal and casual. Now, these are different language styles and they leave different kind of effect on the reader. Now, let's see if the words and their meanings are used in the sense of connotation or denotation. You know that connotative meaning is actually meaning that is based on context and culture, and denotative meaning is the meaning that is straight away taken from the dictionary and other resources. So they are literal meaning. Now be mindful of the connotations of words, which are the emotions of associations a word evokes beyond its literal meaning, which means denotation. Now, after seeing the kind of language, we will see that how the words are leaving effect on the reader. Either they are connotative words or denotative words, which sense they are being used. Now let's look at this example over here. Now here is a situation, you can read it clearly. Kim is writing an article about a new pizza shop called Pizza Town. She wants to convince readers to go to Pizza Town by making them hungry for the shop's pizza. Now, we have two different sentences over here, which Kim is writing. Now, let's see. Number one, Pizza Town has good pizza. And second one is, Pizza Town has hot, cheesy pizza. Now, the purpose is to get as many people for eating the pizza. Now, which one do you think has the best word choice? Can you answer this right now? Out of these two sentences, which one is the best? Yes. Yes. Now, this one, as you can see over here, is more elaborative. It has good choice of word that leaves an impact and effect on the reader of this advertisement. Now, the word hot and cheesy, these are words that leave an effect on the reader, and they will be persuaded and they will definitely go to that place. Now you can see that both these are conveying the same message, but the second one sounds more persuasive. Now, here is a new fact that we are just learning. Now, hieroglyphics are a writing system developed by the ancient Egyptians that uses pictures and symbols to represent words and sounds. Now, we have just learned this fact. Now, in order to learn it well, in order to memorize it, we will link it with our prior knowledge. Students likely have some knowledge about different writing systems they use today. For example, we use alphabets, we use letters. In another language like Urdu, we use different kind of writing style, different words, different letters. So you are well aware of the fact that there are different writing systems present in the word. So in order to understand this fact, in order to learn it, you will link it with your prior knowledge so that you can remember it. Okay. What is the meaning of prior? Prior means existing. The knowledge that you already have about something. For example, if you are learning a fact about language, you already have your prior and existing or already have knowledge about language, how it works, and because we use it in our daily life, so we have the knowledge of the working of language. So your prior means the knowledge that you already have. Now, this way we can learn so much more. Now, in order to do this, you have to be critical readers and thinkers, because only if you think critically, then you can be able to link your new information with your prior knowledge. So this example is very good. You can read it again. Now, here you can see a simulation video. Now, this is about how you can use your prior knowledge in order to learn anything that you want, whether it's new fact, any kind of term, or any complex concept that seems hard, but if you think about it and do it as we are talking about in this lesson, then it will become easier for you to learn that new information and new concept. You will get a question bank in your resources. Now, this one has been done for you. You can answer all these. It's about linking your new facts and information with your prior knowledge. This is your worksheet that you can solve. Now, for the homework, you have to read this fact, think about something you already know that relates to the historical event or figure in the headline. Now, this could be any fact. You can link it with any book or movie you have seen, something you have heard from family or friends. Now, after doing this, after learning about this new fact and relating it to your understanding and knowledge and your prior knowledge, you are going to write a very short paragraph of 3 to 5 sentences explaining the news headline in your own words. This is your homework. You can get this PowerPoint presentation in the resources. If you're watching it on YouTube, you can go to the description and download the resources. Now, your question bank, worksheet, skill sheet, and the presentation, the PowerPoint presentation that you can see right now, all these are attached in the description of the video. I hope that we have successfully achieved our students' learning outcomes, which was about linking new facts and concepts and information with prior knowledge, and then choosing the right words, having a good word choice to leave maximum impact on the reader. And if you see anybody who's written a text like that, and as a reader, if you're reading it, then you can clearly see how the word choice leaves an effect on yourself. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that we have understood it very well. I'll see you in the next video lesson. You can ask me any question related to this lesson if you have or might have later, and then we can begin our next lesson. So at the end, if you are still asking questions, then they are welcome. Okay. Thank you so much, listeners. Take care of yourselves, and Allah Hafiz.